It's funny you should say that because they said after their fallout happened, they had to stay in a hotel room for 2 days, which coincidentally is the exact time it takes for America to stop giving a fuck about whoever wins this competition. You know? God, I fucking hate these two. Oh, hello and welcome to another brand spanking new episode of another Bachelor podcast. My name's Dylan. I'm saddled up next to one real Nicholas Davis.
What's going on, everybody?
And the man over there behind the glass, the producer of this here podcast, Patrick Hickey.
Hi, everybody.
We're doing something a little quirky tonight. We're going to cover the episode that aired on Monday, as we've seen it. Right now we're recording smack dab in the middle of the finale with Lauren and Becca. So we're going to finish this recap, take a break, go watch it, get back in here and cover that for you guys. It's going to be a 5-hour bonanza because we need 5 hours.
Well, we won't be talking for 5 hours, but we watch 5 hours, that's for sure.
Every time we have a bonanza and I say how long it's going to be, you clarify that the podcast is not going to be that long. I don't think it's necessary.
I feel like it is.
Let's jump into...
Hold on,
okay,
Dylan.
Pat.
As you all know, I like to, well, I don't like to do it. It's a necessary evil. I need to throw a Facebook group member out tonight.
Yeah.
Her name's Helena Sierra, and I will decide her fate at the end of this show.
Yeah, this is exciting stuff.
She submitted a kiss-ass message to me.
Which you requested, a plea.
Begging to be kept in the group. I will read that message, and then I will render my decision. But that's coming up later.
Anyways, we're taking too long. We need to get into the show, so let's do that. Arie has a war going on inside of his heart.
He seemed to be weighing his own pros and cons list about each of the ladies.
Yeah.
It was...
It's very reptilian.
Yeah, and eerily similar to Season 2, Episode 8 of Friends, where Ross was conflicted between Julie and Rachel.
Yeah.
So he... on Chandler's new computer, which he was excited that had 12 megabytes of RAM and 500 megabytes of memory to make a pros and cons list about Julie. And it's the exact same thing.
Exact same thing. We are in Peru. Family Man and Lover of Horrors comes out to a raucous crowd. I should say the largest viewing party in America. And I think we know somebody who was at that viewing party, Pat.
That's right, Dylan. We dispatched one Nick Davis to actually watch the event live.
I don't think we dispatched is an accurate term.
I had encouragement from the Hickeys. I really wanted to bail on going on this.
Oh, really?
But I could hear Patrick in my head saying, we got to get content.
Yeah.
And it was for the greater good, even though I basically saw what you guys saw.
So, sprinkled throughout this podcast will be a different perspective from the evening's happenings on.
I don't want to talk shit about the experience too much. I do have some tidbits for you guys. It was fun to see some stuff in the crowd. We'll get into it.
Chris Harrison says Arie will be crowned the most controversial bachelor in history, but he does it to find true love. We're in Peru. The pan flutes are a-blowing again. They're a little more ominous this time. I love the B-roll in this episode because Arie says we're in Peru, and as he says that, there is a belabored, old, leathery Peruvian woman dragging an alpaca up a very steep street. And I was like, yeah, we are in Peru.
Now, that's basically a fucking llama.
Essentially.
Patrick, let's not fight about this, okay? It's an alpaca.
Oh, you had a fancy word for it.
I mean, the distinction is needed because an alpaca will so quickly grow its precious fur, and there's a huge economy around it.
Oh, yeah. Is that the difference? They're different animals. Anyways, there's also a man chasing his hat, which was just more great B-roll that I wrote down. Okay, Lauren hopes that she doesn't freak out when she meets this family. I wonder what that would look like because she has the pulse of a pretty zombie. But she goes in and nervously stumbles her way through a lovely afternoon with the Lyondikes.
I thought I'd give her a B.
Pun intended?
What do you mean unintended?
Lauren B.
Oh, nice. Nice, dude.
What do you mean unintended?
I thought part of her performance was helped by the fact that she cried in front of the mother, Arie's mother. I
Right.
thought it was a really good move. It kind of got her on her side. Initially,
Absolutely.
it felt like it. And I also thought it was an interesting choice of ABC to use Mickey Rourke as a stand-in for Arie's mother.
I was going to say that I didn't want to be too mean. I feel kind of yucky saying this, but there's the one guy with the terrible skin and his partner with awful skin. The dad looks like he's about to die, and the mom looks like Mickey Rourke.
And I feel horrible saying all these things, but that Mickey Rourke thing, I could not get out of my mind
We
as
all
I was
wrote
watching.
the same fucking thing
Yeah.
down, right? It's not telepathy. It's facts.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about their looks, this family, but I have to say they are impressive. I don't know where they made their money. Dylan, I thought you had said possibly because Arie was in a race car driving that dad might have come from that background.
I think father was a successful.
He is
race
a very
car.
successful, yeah.
Much more than his dweeb of a son, who we'll get into tonight and
Which-
proceed to crucify.
Which brings me to this question. How are they so positive about raising a son that's such a loser?
I don't think they are so positive. I think the father has a lot of resentment in his heart towards Arie. I think he's, he looks like a vampire, but I think he is too professional and dignified to be putting his family through this. I mean, he's a Dutch man, and I don't think he likes it one bit. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. A couple things at the top of the date. The man with very, very bad skin asks her what her favorite date's been, and she cannot answer the question at all. She just says, I love them all so much. And then she gives that toast at the dinner table, which is incredible. She says, I'm so happy to be in Peru with the family of the man I love. And that's it.
I agree, Dylan. I think that toast was horrible. She sounded like someone who didn't have good phone number rhythm.
I've never heard that expression before.
Whenever you're going to make a toast, you got to be all in and confident. You can't approach it kind of half in, half out.
Right.
And that's how she did it.
Exactly. Because she's always a nervous wreck. But that phone number rhythm
Yes.
it's kind of a deep pull, but it's a classic Kevin James stand-up bit.
That's very deep. Becca, she comes in and it seems like they like her a little bit more than Lauren, but then she sits down with Mama Rourke and it's like clear that she's not a fan of Becca. She liked Lauren more, and I think it's because she cried.
Well, Dylan, I don't want to shit on your point. But
Yeah.
But you have to because he
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah.
where the turning point here was when Becca said that she sees him as the father of her children. That was the turning point for Mama.
So you're saying that got her
On
mama
Team Becca.
Yeah,
Correct.
for sure. The lineage. Keep the Lion Dykes alive.
Yeah, you guys are right, but in the conversation, I was a little swayed back and forth.
I agree. The editing led us to believe she was going to say otherwise.
But the entire family tells him he should pick Becca, essentially, at the end of all this. So,
which has to be don't want to get ahead of myself, but when you're looking back on Lauren's side, you can't feel too good about yourself that the whole family thinks.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. That would be an awful thing to watch. But the mom comes in with some conclusive advice to him. She says, I love Lauren, I love Becca, and if I were you, I would lean toward, I don't know, it's hard to say.
Yeah, she didn't give an answer, right?
My opinion, I would lean more towards, I feel it's hard to say.
An all-time tease.
Oh my God. She says, it's hard to say. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
Guys, I'm about to say something really offensive, but I need clarity. Who was the super fat chick offering advice?
I was very confused by who she was as well. But I know exactly who you're talking about.
Because she piped up. Obviously, she's got some say in the matter. Because
Right.
she gets Arie aside. I thought that was his sister that we haven't seen or something. By the way, oof. Jesus.
I think you're right.
She tells Arie something about Lauren. She backstabs Lauren. She goes, hey, fuckhead. You already dumped a broad because she wasn't a good communicator. How do you think this is going to fucking work out? I'm paraphrasing.
You're doing a great job at it.
That was the exact subtext, though. I felt it.
Arie's dad sits Becca down and asks her if she gets along with Lauren. And that's when she says, does she say the starfish apple thing then?
I'm confused by that. I mean, I know what an apple is.
You are?
An apple is fruit. A starfish is When you don't clean your backside properly, and then you sit on a chair and leave a chocolate starfish.
Yeah, it looks like Guernica.
I have no idea what that is.
You know,
Is Guernica in?
it's that Pablo Picasso painting where all the horses are dying and everybody's screaming.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Okay. You're right, though, in that they are very difficult to compare because one's an animal, one's a fruit. But I think it's true because Becca is, as far as I'm concerned, a different species than Lauren is. Lauren reminds me of a piece of plywood. So it's like compare a human and a piece of plywood. You know, one's a piece of plywood, the other's an animal.
Yeah, like if you have a choice between the two and you're trying to pick a wife,
Right.
you're clearly not going to pick the plywood.
You can't pick the plywood. It's literally impossible to impregnate and terrible with conversation.
And I guess there is a chance the human is impossible to impregnate depending on her fertility, but the plywood definitely not.
Absolutely not. Arie's dad is terrifying. He looks like he wants to wear her skin.
He's like was actually my favorite of the family. I got to get that on record.
He is dignified, but he's terrifying.
I was wondering, Arie, I'm confused by him, although he's a simpleton, and maybe that's what I'm confused by.
Yeah.
His father, I was feeling a little bit of womanizer there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay, so because I was wondering where Arie got it from.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Patrick. Dude, she is getting grilled by this family. They're asking her about Lauren. All of them ask her about Lauren, and I feel like it's a huge advantage to go first. Be the first girl the family sees. The second one, they're like, whoa, this really is a weird fucking experience.
Unless somehow, like, you're just, like, a horrible person. Like, if Corinne made it to the final two and she goes first, they're like, anybody else.
All right, so we're back in the studio. We got Caroline there, which, by the way, I'm still confused by why she's so prominent on this show. She got kicked the fuck out of there at episode 3.
Yeah, but Caroline's a sleeper. She has a lot of personality, and she seems like a mature individual. And I don't know. I think she's just got a lot to say, and the girls love her.
Looking hot here, but I have to say she was a little too annoying, a little too opinionated, and thus she's bitchy in my book.
I actually haven't even listened to it, but I guess she was on Almost Famous, Ashley I and Ben Higgins podcast immediately after last night. Just
I'm sure she was great.
Spilling tea all over the place, guys.
You said it. Let's get back to the historic 3-hour finale of The Bachelor to see whether or not Arie will make the biggest mistake of his life. Arie and his bride to not be go on a train to Machu Picchu, one of the 7 wonders of the world. This is an incredible date.
When he told her about it, and he's like, "Are you excited that we're going to be going to Machu Picchu?" What?
That's just so crazy. Like, imagine telling a piece of wood that they're going to see the 7th
No,
wonder of the world.
because he was like, we're going to Machu Picchu. And she's like, oh my God. I really expected her to be like, we're going to catch Pokemon?
Terrible joke.
No, Machu Picchu sounds exactly like a Pokemon.
Awful joke.
Hey, hold on. I noticed something here. On that train ride, they're looking out the windows, and this is how they described what they were seeing. Neat, cool, amazing, and then both of them said, that's insane. And then Arie noted, this looks just like those pictures in the books.
I was going to say the needle moved a little bit because as bad as that sounds, it's an improvement, a marked improvement. They are not just staring off in each other's heads or having conversations about breaking down walls, so I'm proud of them. That reminds me when you were kind of tallying up all those words, a fan seriously made the most incredible thing, tracking the terms and expressions that you've identified as overused in Arie's lexicon. What was their name?
Her name's Emily I can't say.
Thanks, Emily. That's seriously, it's awesome work.
Can I give the breakdown she did?
Yes, please.
Solid. Okay. Amazing was used 7 times. I love that was used 3 times and once by Lauren. Yeah was used an amazing 11 times this episode. Moans, there were 14 of them.
That's a lot.
And if afraid of choosing the wrong woman, there were 10. And then you and / ya knows, that was a whopping 19 times used.
I would have lost the over-under on I love you only 3 times.
3 times,
shocking.
We had had it 74 times last episode.
It was around that. And I love that. Another incredible member of our Facebook group is Sandy from Say It on Swag. Now, this is a little belated. She hooked us up a little bit ago. It's been on me. She sent us some swag.
This is beautiful stuff.
And on it says a classic line from this season of The Bachelor.
Something we learned this season.
It says, "Don't glam shame me."
It's a serious crime. Don't do it to anybody. And these shirts that were sent by whom?
Sandy from sayitonswag.com.
It's just a beacon of information. You put this shirt on, you walk around, and people know how serious this really is. It's an epidemic.
So we just wanted to give her a shout out and her business because she sent this in out of nowhere, and it was super nice of her.
Wonderful thing you did. Okie dokes. Let's jump back into things. They go to this wonder of the world. The whole time I'm thinking, Lauren gets to see Machu Picchu. What does Becca get to see?
A hotel room.
Night date!
Night date!
Arie asks her what their life is going to be like. And she says it's going to be fairly simple. We'll go to sleep, wake up, have coffee, walk the dog, go to work, come home, do it all over again the next day. On the weekends, we'll take the dog to the park. This is what he needs in his life. This is what he needs. Milquetoast.
This dummy is struggling to find a reason to say why he'll pick her throughout this entire date. And at some point, he breaks the uncomfortable silence by telling her she has a freckle in her eye.
A speckle.
I can see it.
Oh,
I
a
can
speckle?
see it in her eye, yeah.
Okay. First off, you need to learn the defects of a broad on the first date. God. Not the 8th date, okay?
You are such an idiot.
No, hold on. For me personally, these are my main things. If she talks too loud, she's out. If her eyebrows are contoured too oddly, she's out. Her shoe choice, not up to my specifications, no bueno. And if she talks too much about who she hates at work, she ain't getting a second date. Not wait to the 8th date to find out that she has a speckle or a freckle in her eye.
Patrick, you need a name for these. Like Aziz in Parks and Rec has his oh-no-nos. Tina Fey in 30 Rock has her, I believe they call it the deal breakers. You need a term for your just what gets people cut.
Yeah.
Let the gears turn. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Okay, let me think about it.
Your 10 commandments of misogyny.
That doesn't have the longest ring to it, but it is accurate.
I think it's got a long ring to it. Might not be that good, though.
During the night date, Arie and Bor and Lauren have an exchange, which I thought was interesting. I have a clip. May I play a clip?
Yeah,
I would love
absolutely.
You know, when you were like closed off, and I think about like if I didn't give you those 2 dates in a row, and you know, I really so wanted us to work, you know.
Interesting wording there. He speaks of their relationship in past tense. Now, we know because we see the end of this show, but this is right in the middle of the episode. If you notice, he's grabbing her hair, he's having a glass of wine, talking about the 2 dates, and then he says, I so wanted this to work.
I did not catch that at all.
He did. It seemed like a somewhat of a Freudian slip. He talking about her in the past tense.
Did she not? I guess, I mean, I didn't pick up on it, but I would imagine it's a lot easier to pick up on when you're staring the man in the face, a man who you are emotionally and mentally very invested in.
Are you saying you're surprised that she failed to comprehend something?
Yeah, I
Most
guess.
women would pick up on that and have 18 fucking questions with 18 follow-up fucking questions. Like, what do you mean by past tense, motherfucker?
Hey, we got to go to Becca's one-on-one, but before we do that, a short word from our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by a company called Convicts Care. Are you heading out for a night on the town? Need someone to watch your kids? Convicts Care has got your back. If you've never heard of us, we're kind of like Homeboy tortilla chips, except our convicts don't make chips. They take care of your children. Real good. We know what you're thinking. I don't want convicts watching after my kids. They may eat them or steal something from my home. Rest assured, we at Convicts Care rely heavily on the threat of a second sentencing to ensure that your children are safe. Trust us, these folks do not want to go back to a life of stabby shits. where there's constantly poop on the walls, and all they feed you is corn, so there's corn on the walls too. Anyways, we look forward to hearing from you on your next date night, and remember, when you call us, you'll get CARE. Careful, approachable, responsibly ex-convicts. All right, Becca, one-on-one. Do you guys remember when I was wondering what Becca's date was going to be compared to Lauren's? Yeah, so Lauren gets one of the 7 wonders of the world. Mm-hmm. Becca goes to a street market that is lit by the overcast day and fluorescent lighting. And then they play with a bunch of filthy llamas.
You know, a lot of people call that street market the 8th wonder of the world.
Who?
People.
A lot of people.
It's like about a mile radius around there. That's what people call that.
Do you have anything to say about this here street market?
Yes. I'm going to Peru in October. I'm very excited about this trip. So I've been using this show
Get your shots.
as a little window into what I would want to see. And so when they're walking down this street, there's the food vendors, plenty of eye candy. And these two fools have nothing to say about what they're seeing. And what I finally realized about Arie, and this was my observation, Arie has no observations. All he cares about is himself. And he's such a narcissist, he doesn't see what's going on around him. I think we already know these things, but I didn't know the depths of how he is just about himself. He never lives in the moment of what's going on around him. It's all just about kissing, grabbing hair. All these are all things I've already said, but it disgusts me.
He's like a Roomba. He just fucking goes there, runs into a problem, backs up, keeps going, runs like with no emotion whatsoever. He sucks. Let's get into the night date.
At least a Roomba you could like balance a beer on and have it bring it to you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's get into the night date. This is concerning right out of the gate. Pat, do you have a clip?
Oh yeah, I got a clip of Arie talking to Becca.
Yeah, play that.
That's the thing, I don't have questions for you. You know, I always like see you as this like rock and like someone who's so confident in us, you know?
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm very clear when I say like I am confident with us. And I see us. And I love you. I don't question that, and I've never doubted you.
What Becca's doing here, I looked at this. This is pre-rose ceremony as like the last round. This is the 12th round for the decision, and she's just fucking throwing haymakers. Like, playing this game so well. As I've mentioned before on this show, what I picked up on Arie, very insecure motherfucker. So he needs to make sure that she's all in. She's telling him how much she loves him, so he's comfortable. And that, I think that was his undoing. That's why he picked him.
This conversation to any rational human being would be extremely concerning. She asks him if he's conflicted in any way. And he's like, yeah, to be honest with you, I am. And she's like, okay, what's the difficulty here? And he goes, with us, you know, it's just, I don't know. And she's like, do you have any questions? And he's like, no, I'm good. Do we want to talk about Neil Lang and his cushion diamond and the girls looking in the mirror, or can we get right to the the slaughter?
Well, my wife, who is a ring snob, noted that the ring that was being chosen was a 3-carat flat ring. And ladies, if you listen to this show, you will understand that female language more so than these 3 straight dudes in this here.
Well, I know a 3-carat ring. Whew, that's a lot of American dollars.
I don't know a lot about rings, but I just know that I prefer a more square ring. Yeah. I think they look cooler than this egg-shaped.
Yeah, I don't like those at all. I'm not a ring guy either.
Before we move on, we saw Becca M and Cien in studio, and Becca didn't really get a ton of mic time, but she was making waves after the show. Right. She put Arie on blast for DMing her since the show has ended.
What did he say to her?
They were very innocuous, like joking replies to like stories and stuff, but that's still, he's just trying to initiate the conversation.
It's because he can't. See, this is what I was talking about. You can't just go DMing people like that after you've been such a piece of shit.
This is part of the reason I wanted to bring this up, because you have mentioned this multiple weeks. You asked Mario about it. Aren't these people just going to be put on blast when they're sliding in these DMs?
Now, I think it should be illegal, personally.
Wow.
But I want to say this. All right, so I agree. Dylan did say that would be a concern of his, but I want to say that I said he dumped the 22-year-old, But later on, 6 months later, and it is nearly 6 months to the day that he is DMing her, that I'm in the mind of this tart.
Well, listen, we need to pump the brakes because we have not yet seen how this season ends. We've got to see what happens with Lauren. We've got to see what happens with Becca and Arie Leondijk.
I want to start a hashtag. This Bachelor was so one-dimensional and so dumb that the hashtag is no more high school dropouts for bachelors.
I love that. I really, really love that. You can't be spinning pizza dough. Okay?
One more time. That's hashtag no more high school dropouts for Bachelor.
Yes.
Nice. Get that on a t-shirt. The only problem with your hashtags is they're too long for one line of it.
Long.
No.
They're so long.
I don't have a problem with the length in general. I love that. Makes them stick out, but they're hard to stick on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's one line. We need a small font.
I just think they're challenging in general. Lauren walks out there looking beautiful. Little does she know she is about to be stabbed in the heart. Pat, can you play, just so that this is more cringeworthy, can you play like the last 45 seconds of her pre-proposal to Arie?
Oh, right.
Secret sound. No. Minneapolis is B96 secret sound. I'm going to say shooting bottles.
The sound effects are always so confusing.
It's got to be shooting bottles with like a 22.
I thought it was a tree falling down.
You got it. It's wood. Oh. That's how she communicates.
Plywood.
Okay, Pat. Jesus fucking Christ. Can you just play the clip?
And the secret sound prize pool escalates one week further.
You've been so patient and understanding this whole time, and you've never rushed me to break down my walls. I've always fought falling in love with you. I always tried to make up excuses as to why the love I was feeling for you couldn't be real. And looking back at all the signs now, I know that I loved you all along. You're the man that I've been looking for my whole life.
So, I mean, she lays it all out there, tells him that she loves him, and he says, I have love that you broke down those walls, and then says, I gave it my all. He just is really like intensely kind of mean to her. My heart breaks for her, even though I despise her so much. But she says she's so confused, and so is America. And then she, the can I walk you out after that needs to stop. Somebody just needs to yell from across the yard, like, Lauren, this way.
He has to do it.
Before we move on to Becca, I do want to say one thing. Usually it's either Nick or Patrick who are the detailed motherfuckers. I did want to say that when she's getting in that car and she looks at him and says, I still love you, I think that fucking ruined him. This is all a ruse, so you can't put too much behind it, but I really do think that singed in his brain right before she gets in the car. She says, I still love you, and then leaves.
Well, for a sex addict, Dylan, yes, that is fucking cocaine for
right.
their brain.
Yeah.
Because now the only way to end this story is to get a little sample of that. Don't worry. We haven't watched the second part of this fucking show yet, but don't worry. They ain't going to see Dancing with the Stars. That relationship ain't going to last long either.
Okay, I smell another wager coming, but let's get to Becca. He proposes to her, and boy, do they moan. I feel like the bulk of the tally that Emily did came from this proposal. She says her name's going to be Rebecca Jill Cooper Leondijk, and that it's got a ring to it. Does she
Kufrin.
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 Is that her surname?
Yes.
Okay, so she says that her name is going to be hyphenated.
Dude, that's what happens. That's why you cannot allow your future wife to hyphenate your name, because eventually they will marry someone with a hyphenated name, and it will just continue on and on and on.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up the issues with just like simple things like DMV paper.
All of it. I mean, I guess those are
letters.
That's much more practical than generations eventually having.
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine the teachers. They would have to pronounce those names. Pat, do you have anything to say?
When he's proposing, prior to it, she's saying all the right things. I'm ready to do this with you. You've listened to me throughout this journey with no judgment. All the same shit. And then he gets down on one fucking knee. I want to throw up. And then he says and announces to the world, let's start having babies.
Yeah, when can we start having babies? I don't know, tonight? Whoa.
Is this 1910?
Yeah.
You have known each other for 6 weeks.
This is not an arranged marriage. This isn't Pakistan. You don't need to get right to this.
And going back very quickly to the hyphenated names.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how my high school did not have enough people to field a hockey team, despite us being in the Midwest, a hockey ravenous region.
Yeah.
But we had to combine with some other schools.
Hockey hungry.
So we were the La Crosse, Aquinas, Holman, Galesville, Ettrick, Trempealeau, Avalanche.
That's
a mouthful.
Yeah. Perfect, Pat.
Galesville, Ettrick, Trempealeau was actually one high school, but everybody called them Get High because it was GET.
Okay, so we need to move on to things that matter. Days and weeks after Peru, we've got the Pat. What's it called? The Happy
Couples Week, and apparently this exists in the Hollywood Hills.
Right? Yeah.
Sounds like a Vince Vaughn flick.
It does, a bad one. Me and Nick chatted about this off mic, of course. But what was she told that got her to that house? Like when she showed up and there were cameras there, and he's sitting there all somber. Like, what did she think was going on? I mean, she kind of got worried.
I think
pretty soon, but
I think there's a million ways they could have spun it. I think they could have been like, "Hey, we got this Facebook Live thing. We're gonna film follow up with you guys. You guys are amazing. You're a new couple. TV show." And she's just soaking it up. She's believing anything they say.
Yeah.
And she is completely ambushed.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. It is indefensible that he went to the network before her.
You sit down with Chris Harrison and tell him Becca's fate before talking to her.
Yeah.
There is no reason to do that other than hunger for fame.
To be fair, Nick, in their conversation, you could pick up a couple things. When he walks up to her, she says, "You are making me nervous." And he says, "I've been struggling." Mm-hmm. Okay, so apparently there had been some conversations before this. And then I think she says at some point, I'm not 100%, she says, "You talk to her." Meaning Lauren. She's referring to Lauren. And what did you guys talk about or something? So she already kind of knew something was going on.
Yeah, it's not good. Like, she sits down and he's like, "Oh, the ring." And she's like, "Well, what's going on?" I just love that he said with a straight face, "I obviously didn't do a good job telling you how I felt." Not only did he not do a good job, he did the contrary. An act of certain clarity and commitment, which is the opposite of telling a woman that you have feelings for another woman. He proposed to her.
He said he wanted to have children with her. That's even a bigger thing for me in my mind. You never drop that one. Even as a former sex addict, I would say anything to get laid and a chick into me. I'd never throw that, "Hey, let's have babies together" thing. Mainly because I hate children.
Nick, you did a little bit of digging. We've got a clip up on our social mates about these producers and their intervention in this whole fucking...
Because eventually Arie kept giving his platitudes about why he's doing this and why he must, and she just couldn't take it any longer.
Yeah, she's done.
And she gets up and she walks away. And that, in a real breakup, you would think is the end of it for that night.
Yeah.
But instead, Arie is prodded to go and follow her.
Right.
And I've got some definitive proof. You guys haven't seen this. I'm going to walk you through it. It's more visual. It's already up on the Another Bachelor Podcast Instagram, so you can go check it out.
Okay, I'm done.
Rises.
I sped up a little bit. She's just walking through the hallway. He's waiting. He doesn't know what to do.
A lot of
and
that.
Right here, boom. Arie looks over at the camera. It's such a subtle shoulder
Shrugs.
shrug. he's like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, get up and go. And even before he made this move, they had a tight shot on him, but they zoom out to give him this instruction. So the acknowledgement was less evident.
You guys got to go watch this because this is such a pure peeling back of that stinky, stinky onion that is Arie.
This is my Zabruder.
Yeah. It's just as intense.
Can I say this? I've said this all along. There are producer bachelors, and there are bachelors that kind of find their own way.
Go rogue.
Someone on our Facebook group, and this is why we have Facebook group, and this is how we tip our hat to you, had said he is a puppet muppet.
Yeah.
He loves any excuse. Any excuse.
Why do you...
It's time to meet the Muppet on the
He's so pleased with himself. Okay.
Now turn the music down. Now turn the music
I'm
down.
getting yes.
Jesus, God help us. No, I totally agree with that person. And
I was the one that said he was a puppet, by the way, and then someone followed up that he is a Muppet.
Pat,
in a fun rhyme, and
please,
there's not much that rhymes with either of those words.
Don't play that song anymore.
I love that song.
Don't play that song anymore.
I'm indifferent about the song itself, but Patrick's reaction when he gets to hear the song is priceless, and I would love to hear it.
Wrong
see that
medium,
anytime.
though. He wobbles his way in there, and this is true. You can tell he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't want to be doing this. The producers are like, this is a nothing burger. You've said horrific things to her. She's done talking to you, and she is not devastated. She just doesn't want to fucking talk to you anymore. Turn around, get in there, and let's see if we can get some drama.
If I'm really going to don a tinfoil hat, I think he just had these time benchmarks, and every time he hit 5 minutes, 6 minutes, it was just cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Because why did he linger for that long?
Well, the camera's on him. He's trying his best to kind of save his...
It was planned. They said you have to stay for X amount of time.
He's a pussy and dumb, so he'll do whatever they tell him.
Chris Harrison says this is the most raw and real footage that they have ever seen. And to truly capture it, we need to air with commercials 35 minutes of it. This was infuriating. Chris Harrison was like, we felt that it would be a disservice to you to edit. Please, next time, feel free. Use the editors. You pay them a union minimum. Just get the most out of them, okay? You've been doing it for almost 25 years, and we've loved it. Don't ever show us uncut footage of this show ever again.
Also, I did not appreciate how they had the dividing screen. It reminded me of that movie Sex, Lies, and Videotape, the original film of Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, very, very weird movie.
And that movie Time Code.
Right, that's the one that I'm thinking of.
Oh, God, please don't ever do that again.
So experimental. Or James Franco's terrible adaptation of As I Lay Dying. Go away, James Franco.
There was just the...
I don't think we're going to have a problem with that.
I've always known Dave Franco is the talent in that family. No.
Jesus Christ.
Have you seen his work in 21 Jump Street? But
it's so crazy Nick actually thinks Dave Franco is funny in 21 Jump Street.
Dude, I love how you sabotage that soccer game, man. Organized sports are so fascist, it makes me sick.
Not funny. Okay.
Yes, it is. That is a fantastic line.
I have a thought. So as we're watching this horrible thing, and Becca gets chased into the bathroom, just for a second, and we haven't seen the second part of this show, the announcement of The Bachelorette. When he does this, is there a little part of her going, yes, I get to be the Bachelorette? There is no way.
Oh, no, I don't think so at all.
It happened before.
I have to agree with you. I don't know if her intentions were that crystal clear, no. But you could see her composing herself because there are cameras in front of my face. I have to come across well when I want to tell this guy to fuck off and get the fuck out of here.
Right. Well, she does start crying a little bit, and I think Arie leaves. He goes outside, and she starts crying. They get the audio of that, and I think they were like, get the fuck back in there. And he does, and he knocks on the door and goes, hey, are you okay?
That being in studio, the entire room just a groan. Like, how are those your words? You sound like her dad, and she's running in because she just got
a period or something.
Yep.
Hey, you okay?
You okay in there? I really wish your mother was still around to help you out with this.
Okay. I feel so bad for her because she keeps it together, but then, she lets go. It cuts back to the studio, and I don't know how it was live at CBS Radford.
That's why I'm here, to give you that inside scoop.
But it cuts back to Chris, and he goes, "There's more." And the audience is like audibly laughing. And he's like, "I know, you're aghast." No, it's just really bad. And a lot of it. I think that's what I heard.
And it was accurate. Like, they didn't ham that up that much, because I think we were just like, how are you acting so shocked at this when you're part of the orchestration? You stone cold lover of horse.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel like I've been alone on an island calling him family man and lover of horse. And here comes Nick up on his inflatable raft.
Hey, dudes. Hey, we got two things we got to do.
Yeah.
One's more important than the other. We got to watch, I guess, the second half of this piece of shit. But more importantly, I got to kick someone out of this fucking group. Can we do that now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's take a break. Harp?
Okay, so for some reason, Pat has taken it upon himself to eliminate. I thought we were doing this less often than we are, but I guess it's
every week, dude.
Every week, we're going to kick somebody out of the Facebook group. Pat, go ahead and do your thing. There's the song.
It's different this time.
It is different.
It's Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, No Quarter.
No Quarter.
You tried to get us ripped off iTunes?
Who was that?
Pipe down, baby. We'll get to you in a second. As you all know, I've been tasked with throwing a member out of the Facebook group every week. This week, Helene, Sarah's future in the Facebook group, has been a hot button issue, as we know. We all know. And now you will learn her fate. Helene, are you on the line?
I am. I'm here.
As you know, when your number is pulled, it's time to do some groveling. And we're going to get into her submission on groveling, and then I will decide if it meets my my expectations. Helene, you submitted a submission to me groveling. Do you remember doing that?
I submitted a lengthy submission to you, yes.
Okay. Why did you do that?
Okay.
Thanks.
Don't do that.
I'm only reading this so that when I render my decision, the people fully understand and grasp why I made my decision. Your first submission started out with, without this Facebook group, my feed is essentially all politics, essential oils, and mum stuff. If you kick me off, you are basically saying you hate mums and you don't support mums who don't prance around on reality TV shows. Now, Helene, I don't know if that was a good start, because already you're accusing me of hating mothers. Now, I responded to you when I said this wasn't cutting the mustard, and to resubmit another submission. And let me just get to that for the sake of timing here. You went on to say, I fill my days and nights with laughter and deep thoughts because of your wit and wisdom. You are the greatest podcaster ever since the beginning of podcast time. You don't even need those two other fucking clowns to do this show, because you soar above them. But similar to Noel Gallagher is clearly the better half of Oasis. There wouldn't be an Oasis if it wasn't for the brother of his. Helene, I am about to decide your fate right now.
Can we weigh in on her fate at all? Because I'm kind of offended at what she said.
Well, no, see, now I'll have to send each of you an individual.
Well, I mean, you've already kind of written those words.
I did.
Yeah, chill out, Arie.
Flip-flopping
on us.
Judge.
Yeah.
Helene, I have decided after reading the paperwork you have forwarded to me that you shall stay in this group.
Yes.
Just the shock and awe and joy that is coming in this studio from that cell phone. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I have to say, I'm happy that this happened, because I feel closer to you guys now. Like, I felt like I was a stranger, but I feel closer to you collectively as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
you're forever a friend of the show.
Yeah, Pat, can we hang up on her, please?
Dylan, I don't like your tone right now, and I will say this, Helene, you are here to stay. In fact, I've talked to some of my other people that are involved with this project, and we may have some other opportunities for you in the future. Thank you very much. We appreciate your listenership.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Helene.
Bye.
Okay, we are back, having freshly watched down this disaster of a After the Final Rose live production. Botched job all the way around.
I agree. Chris Harrison, I'm so happy to not see you for 2 more months. I hate you. You suck, and you're an asshole.
I've never seen somebody with such tenure do such a terrible job at trying to sew this thing together. No cohesion. Botched job.
Hey, gentlemen, can I just jump in here with an observation?
Yeah, sure, Pat.
A lot going on with this episode, but really nothing going on.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed watching it with you guys.
Yeah, it was a ball.
But if I was at home, I would have turned this off and just read what happened.
I thought that there was a lot of hilarious things and a lot of interesting things. First off, Arie says that no one can relate to this situation that he's going through, except that little brown fella. Pat, what is his name?
I think it's Jason Mizahi or whatever the fuck, the cell phone dealer.
Yeah,
piece of shit.
Anything to say here? I mean, these are 2 scumbags talking to one another. I hate that they're doing this new package with Becca. She's flipping through Polaroids and looking at old video footage and crying. And you brought up something very poignant while we were watching the show. You said, Becca, why are you letting them do this to you? I don't know why she's agreed. Maybe she's under contract to do this, but this seems like just unnecessary. Nobody's ever had to do this.
Well, no, this was a new thing for this franchise. We've never spent 9 hours over 2 days.
Uncharted Waterworks.
And a lot of talking on the stage. That's right. Nice, dude. But Becca, the reason why she was allowing them to exploit her was because she knew she'd already signed that ticket to be the next Bachelorette, which I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
But I can't agree enough. Like, this was the point I had the revelation that we are now just watching complete actors.
Right.
Like, we were seeing before, I really feel like these people were falling prey to emotions and they're acting kind of on what they believe.
Yep.
But at this point where they know their fate, they are just acting at the whim of ABC.
And
so
they're not good actors.
Yeah. It's clear as day what they're doing. Arie and Lauren want that televised wedding, and Becca wants a whole season.
And how about Terry, Tia, Cien, Caroline? They have an agenda as well, which we know their agenda as actresses as well is to be on Bachelor in Paradise.
Exactly.
Well, they've punched their tickets.
And it's like they're just playing this game theory where, like, they all initially wanted to be the Bachelorette. That was the goal. But once the writing's on the wall, it's going to be Becca because of her story. They become her support group and just start hanging on.
Yeah. That's how it works. It's like a large
parasitic.
Yes, a large fish, and the little guys that swim underneath its belly.
Sometimes in a fish's mouth, I work in this business. There's a fish called the cichlid, where sometimes fish that are not cichlids embed their own children in the mouth of a cichlid who thinks they're going to eat the cichlid. And the cichlid takes care of the babies, and that's parasitic.
And this is an analogy.
Yeah, all of these analogies are very, very apt. And someone who refused to be parasitic and decided to go at the queen bee was Crystal. Like, she kind of like went all out to be the Bachelorette herself and refuses to be
never going to happen.
She refuses to be a henchman. But as Omar said in The Wire, if you come at the king, you best not miss.
And she missed constantly, which is why she is irrelevant. We need to move on. All the while, Arie is standing outside of Lauren's house. What Nick said, they're acting. This is so fucking sloppy, okay? Arie says he's having a panic attack out in front of Lauren's house, And later in the show, we find out that this was agreed upon.
Gets
and
puts on blast, initially by Sienna, I believe.
he says that my biggest fear is that she's going to say no. You've called her before you went there, and she said yes.
There was so much fourth wall breaking later that was contradicting the narrative they were trying to weave together. And also, Arie, your anxiety attack sounded like you were having sex.
Absolutely.
You were breathing. That was just heavy breathing. Usually I feel like an anxiety attack's more rapid breathing.
I don't know. This was the pre-recorded stuff. This was the stuff they knew about, and they still fucked it up. We haven't even gotten to the live portion of this, but we gotta talk about Arie sitting down with Lauren.
I did like how you said when he went to the door, you kind of wanted it to be Lauren's dad.
Oh, that would have been incredible.
That would have been very interesting.
I've been doing a lot of checking on your flight
because
record.
he would have opened the door and he would have been like, "Hey, man, how the hell are you? We haven't seen you in such a long time.
Yeah.
Come on in. Glad you chose Lauren."
Yeah. Even if he did give him any pushback initially, Arie could have just been like, the whole time I was thinking about this stuff with Lauren, I was remembering my time in Iraq. Remember my time, how I spent in Iraq?
And you dedicated your time to our soldiers, pilots, and sailors. Cheers, man.
All good. All good. Welcome to the family.
He sits down with Lauren, and this is the person who he said, "I love you. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you." Then broke up with on national television, only to break up with another girl to try and get her back. He does not say "I'm sorry" one time to her in the entire time they talk on Lauren's parents' couch.
Well, if I remember correctly, Arie, as he's talking to Lauren, like, why did you pick Becca? He says she was a safe decision.
Yep.
Which is a horrible thing to say.
It's what we've been talking about the entire season. He confirmed it. He is one of the most insecure things we've ever seen on national television. And when Lauren had that freckle of doubt in her eye,
nice.
It scared the shit out of him because he is too weak to swallow that and deal with it. So he had to choose Becca.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of offensive. I've broken up with a lot of girls. I've been dumped by a lot of girls. When Lauren asks him, like, now that he's picking her and they're at her house, like, what's up with Becca? And what he says is, I am 1,000% over her.
Yeah.
That's his words, not mine, and I'm not paraphrasing. I actually wrote that down. 1,000% of her.
What's your point?
That's like a fucking bullet in the head. She's dead to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was sticking in the dagger and he was twisting it. Like, all these comments you guys are referencing are, if you think of it from Becca's end, when she sees them, you will just be devastated.
Oh, I mean, I think he said worse stuff to Becca, like in that long, drawn-out bullshit 30-minute raw, uncut, and so real footage. He just looks her in the face. He's like, "I love another woman. I wish I could like you, but I can't."
It's all bad. 1,000% over you stings, I feel like, just as much.
The girls come out there, and yes, they're all kind of, vying for paradise and more Instagram followers. It's necessary. It's the name of the game. But I got to say, we had a great group of gals this season. I mean, they all get up there, aside from Tia, and Caroline talked a little bit too much, and just
And
crucify
Kendall's
him.
also a bit much at times.
I like Kendall. But
and
they
so is
essentially
Becca.
said exactly what we've been saying all season. He is a sociopath. He has no empathy. When he speaks to people in emotionally heavy circumstances, he seems to disassociate with the weight of the conversation, which are the markings of an insane person.
Now, Dill, 100%. I think you guys brought this up to me. Like, I've been shitting on Terry, just one of the guys, because I'm not attracted to her and I don't like that short hair. Yeah, I'm doubling down. But what bothered me in the past, I actually enjoyed. She is a super smart girl. Dill, I think that you had mentioned this over and over. Maybe Nick, you said this as well. God damn it, she is so smart. She's smarter than me.
Yeah,
and she's 22. Got it.
She's very, very well spoken.
Now she realizes he's a sociopath.
She's a champion. She's the leader of the girls, even though she's a decade their junior. Becca comes out, and this is when the acting really gets excruciatingly bad because Becca, of course, she's going to say yes to the Bachelorette, but she's not good at like she needs help. And you know who's not going to give her help? A family man and lover of horrors, Chris Harrison. He cannot make this any less awkward with the kicking to the billboard in Times Square. And
that was a drop cue
there.
from something in the back. Yeah.
But even if it's a drop cue on the production side, say like, oh, guess we're having some technical difficulties or something. He just lets it sit for 7 seconds of silence and then goes, can you believe that? You're looking at the same picture, Chris.
The other flub up on both their parts and where you saw Becca just wasn't able to hit the cues is when they talked about how people were inexplicably donating money to Becca, raised $6,000, and they tried to have an announcement that money's being donated to charity, and Chris Harrison announces ABC will match it, but Becca's reveal was terrible. It fell flat.
Let me ask you this, gentlemen. I believe I brought this up while we were watching it all together. She's flubbing her words, not good on her feet. We had some issues with the last go round with this.
Yes,
are we going to have a repeat of Arie? Someone unable to articulate, actually someone like me.
You know what? I don't, irony. I don't think that she's going to be a bad Bachelorette. I'm sure that I will come to hate her, as I do every person who leads the charge in their given season, except for Ben Higgins. Go.
Nope, piece of shit.
Nope, he's not. But we'll see where it goes. I'm not appalled or sickened by the choice. I think it's natural, and it
This will be my fourth different lead I get to see. And she just seems run-of-the-mill from these other three. But what I've really found out about this franchise, it's about the 30 contestants.
Yeah.
And really those first couple weeks that are just amazing. They have 30 personalities to play with and see all that drama.
I know, but it does help when you've got a strong Bachelor or Bachelorette. It always makes the season better, and we just haven't had those of late. Rachel looked strong, but, I mean, she capitulated towards the end. Arie's been dog shit from the beginning, and Nick Vile's been dog shit from the beginning.
That's one little insight I will say from being in studio last night. Nick Vile was in the crowd, and every time they were showing Arie fuck up on screen, I would glance and see Nick's reaction, and he looked smitten because people have forgotten about how big of a piece of shit he was in his time.
Of shit. Speaking of pieces of shit, Arie comes out on stage. She looks uncomfortable, like she doesn't want to do this. And this is where I feel like he has the upper hand on her because he lives in this zone. Like, he's a professional bullshitter, and he's just soaking this shit up. Even though he's having to dip, dive, duck, dat. What are the 5 Ds? Yeah, those.
I know dodges twice.
But Chris is not helping her out at all.
Why should he?
He's just like, Becca, take it away.
Now, when Arie and Becca chat, the first question she hits him up with is, when did you know, motherfucker? When the fuck did you know? He said it was when he talked to Lauren.
Right.
So a phone call flipped this fucking guy on the script. All it took was a phone call for him to know that he made a fucking mistake. We don't want to call him out more on that?
And the massaging of the truth he spins when he says that, Becca was totally cool with me calling you. Yeah, she gave you permission if you needed to close that out. She didn't give you permission to rekindle stuff on New Year's Eve of all nights, this theatrical piece of shit. And then he doesn't tell her for a week, which is so shady. And then when she asks him, why didn't you tell me? He says, I didn't want to be rash. I wanted to collect my thoughts, which is I guess it's fine, but he knows what he's doing. Again, Chris Harrison does not help them out at all. They fumble through the entire fucking thing, and we were counting. We had our antennas up. Is this guy gonna say I'm sorry once? He kind of squeaks it in there, but for the most part, I mean, we know it. He's robotic and unapologetic.
Can I pick out one of the more piece of shit moments of Arie of the night? Was at some point when he's talking to Becca, he said he didn't want her to look like the bad person and through all.
Oh,
what the fuck? How could she possibly look like the bad person? Like, he says this to her. How could she possibly ever look like the bad person through this? You asked her to marry you.
Yeah.
You got down on one knee. You said, hey, let's start having children. A month in, after you maybe sleep with her twice, maybe 3 times, you come back and say, hey, I actually made a mistake after a few phone calls. I want to pick the other girl. How could she be the bad person?
The only way she could ever be spun as the bad guy is if they break up, not in public, and then for the 2 or 3 days when false rumors come out that she broke it off, and then all it takes is ABC and her clearing it up and saying, nope, I didn't, he broke up with me. That's the only scenario where she could be the bad guy. He's lying. He lives in a world of lies.
He's a lying dyke.
Okay.
Nice.
Jason and his peppy wife come out. These two are the worst. Chris
horrible
Harrison's like, what were you guys thinking when you saw this? And Molly's like, we were thinking, why didn't he call us? I mean, we could have given him some advice, don't you think, Chris?
This is literally the only series of events that could have happened to get these two back on TV. Like, it had to play out exactly what their history was.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one wants to hear from them. And we still don't.
It's funny you should say that because they said after their fallout happened, they had to stay in a hotel room for 2 days, which coincidentally is the exact time it takes for America to stop giving a fuck about whoever wins this competition. You know? God, I fucking hate these two. Okay.
That was nice, dude. Okay. You are so right.
Thanks.
I'm not going to care about this show after tomorrow.
No.
I mean our show.
This is rear view. Well, we're
like going forward.
No, dude.
Are you quitting the podcast?
No, I was just having fun.
Arie comes back out, and Chris says,
"It's alarming."
He's been getting threats, and he says it like 3 times. He's been getting threats on social media. Chris, no one cares if you live or die.
I gotta say, I was emotional when I sent those tweets out. I shouldn't have done that.
What did you say?
I mean, it was pretty run-of-the-mill. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say too much. This goes out to people. But hey,
Yeah.
Chris, it was a reflexive
calm down,
action.
Chris.
I shouldn't have done it.
Out comes Lauren. I had a problem just right out of the gate. I don't know how they mic'd her up, but her dress sounded a little scratchy, and she was out there for a while. If you watch it again, which no one ever will or should, it is bad. I mean, the whole live production component of this was terrible. The most disgusting thing he says all night is, you know what? I think that this is part of our story, and it's made our love even stronger.
To Lauren, he says that.
Kill yourself. Chris Harrison asks Arie if, they talk a bunch of bullshit about their relationship, and that's when it's revealed he hit up Lauren on New Year's, which is gross, but then he says something really gross. He says that, I don't know if he said I'm happy for it, but that this whole process has definitely made their love stronger, which is just disgusting. Like, you know what would have been a very rock-solid foundation? Proposing to her, not on live television, and having her say yes. Maybe do that, which he could have done. Anyways, Chris Harrison asks Arie about the haters. You know, the haters out there.
People that don't like you.
Perfect.
People that drink the haterade.
Yeah, you drinking that haterade. Nick, you loved his response, didn't you? I mean, he's an awful human being, but he essentially said, fuck him. I won.
Yeah.
I got Lauren. It doesn't matter.
Fuck the haters.
Yeah, he said that too, and they didn't even bleep it out. Bad live production.
Arie was staring at Lauren, although she is as you referred to earlier, a piece of plywood.
Right.
He was staring at her like, this is gonna fucking work. Like, we're a couple now.
I actually am going to have a hot take, I think. This might be considered...
A hot take?
This
All
might
right.
be considered a
You're
hot
a little
take.
tentative about it, but
Just because it's not that hot, I just feel like these two are going to make it forever. I think
whoa.
I think both of their default modes are just to accept what is.
Right.
And right now they are together,
Right.
and neither of them will ever stop being together with the other person.
Yeah.
And they just needed the inertia of this show to put them together.
Yeah.
And now they will be happy forever.
Sure enough, this scumbag proposes on live television. Oof. Just go home and do this. You'll get so many likes on social media. It'll feel great. You don't need to do this on the fucking soundstage for this shit show. One of the reasons being, and he should have seen this, you are not going to get a very good applause, my friend. This is not something that people are comfortable applauding. And when Becca was announced as the next Bachelorette, that was an applause.
Thunderous.
I mean, it drowned out the applause that those two got for their nuptials.
Hey, do you think Lauren thought for one beat, although she's a retard, to
Hard
Arie, hey, dude, if you're thinking about getting down on one knee in front of cameras tonight, don't fucking do it, dude. Like, you're a social pariah right now. It ain't gonna look good.
Yeah.
Can we do this
can I just
in
say
front of the family?
You nail her accent.
Thank you.
Speaking of Becca getting announced as the Bachelorette, she does get announced as the Bachelorette. This is when the wheels just fall off. I think this is when the girls come around and Caroline's like, come sit on my lap, and then she's talking too much. They're all trying to squeeze on that stupid couch.
You're talking from a production standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, this is why you listen to your director and you don't pile 6 girls. Becca, they could not get coverage on her cute little face.
Nope. Dance
She was
monkey.
hiding behind the ugly fat one.
What? Which one was that, Pat?
Kendra.
Yeah.
We have been recording for a while.
Yeah,
Patrick's
Pat
getting a
starts to
little
lose
loopy.
it at the end. Okay, so anyways, the group comes out. That's all very rushed. And yes, from a production standpoint, a disaster. But nothing compared to what it is like when the art department comes out to recreate the mansion. Cut to a commercial break. And then we'll come back and do this. But alas.
ABC's evolving. It's all about the flaws, just unedited, uncut, because we're on a budget.
I don't like what's coming up. I don't like where we're going to meet the first 5 guys. They got to do away with this thing.
This is so excruciating to watch. I don't know why anyone would agree to do this. The Bachelorette, I feel like, has to go through a lot of shitty things to get the kind of clout that you get at the end of this as a prize. These guys could fade into irrelevancy so fast. Why you would ever volunteer to be one of these guys is mind-blowing.
We live in LA. There's plenty of douchiness here. There's guys lining up to show up to do this.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's just so weird because I don't think that they understand the pressure of a live performance. Like, it's awkward when there are cameras around and it's the first night. Those are butterflies, but this is live TV in front of a studio audience being broadcast to so many people.
And it seems like they gave him a ton of leeway on how long they were going to be out there. Because that first one,
first guy with the English accent.
that juxuposition, he's an African-American Russian with a British accent. What
Very
an anomaly,
confusing.
with incredible biceps.
He's very, very big.
Horrible hair.
That guy was out there, it seemed like, for like 4 minutes, just flop sweating up a storm.
Yeah, and I don't even know his name. Yeah, Pat?
It's probably Ted. He kept staring at the camera like making his own show. He wasn't even looking at Becca. This
And
guy's
hamming it up for the crowd.
Yeah, he was panic breathing and just trying to get through it. I don't even know his name, but I do know the second guy's name, and that's Chase Ferguson. Now, if anyone ever introduces themselves with a first name and a surname, and you're not in a boardroom or some kind of trade show, be very, very wary.
I like actually to do that. Sometimes just ironically, Nick Davis, across Wisconsin. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, that's a funny party trick, but you don't actually do that to people, right? Because it's an insane thing to do.
I have said Nick Davis, lacrosse, Wisconsin a lot.
Oh my
But
gosh.
ironically, it's hilarious.
Oh, I said it. Pat,
Yeah, buddy.
do you want to talk about the banjo player?
Yeah,
When you saw him,
I'm pretty sure this guy was expecting Kendall to be the Bachelorette, so he just practiced the banjo for 6 months to impress her. I think he wanted to impress Kendall, the ukulele player, because the ukulele, as I like to call it, the banjo of the Pacific.
right? Yeah. Well, Pat just about creamed his pants when that boy came on. Pat said, "Woof, he is handsome."
That guy sucked. Next guy was black.
I have nothing to say about the next guy, other than the fact that he had a very, very poor fitting suit. Ill-fitting.
This guy gave me Fred vibes, the guy with the ill-fitting suit.
Absolutely.
Your best impression.
Why is there a horse on stage? Oh, I know why. Because of that whole saying, when you fall off a horse, you get back on. That's
Nice.
why we have to have a
Nice.
fucking horse on stage. The season ends with her being forced uncomfortably onto a horse. She cannot even mount the beast properly for fear of exposing her labia. And Chris Harrison then says, "We'll see you next season." Can we have some final departing thoughts on Arie Leondijk?
I, all season, defended him and said he may not be the brightest. I don't think he's the dumbest, but I do think he's genuine. And it turns out he's not. He is a puppet muppet of ABC. By the end, you could see the strings coming out of his limbs, and he was at the behest of any request they made.
I don't have to say anything because Nick summed it up perfectly. Pat?
And this is not about him. This is about more of choosing the Bachelor. Please, people. The next Bachelor. Layers. Please.
Yep.
Layers. Not some guy who doesn't know how to talk. Someone, and Dylan, I know you're against this. I want someone that's better than me, that I go, God, I wish I said that, or I was better than this person. You have yet, in the last 3 or 4 seasons, and don't even bring Ben Higgins up here, Dylan. Don't you even fucking do that.
Literally
I want a guy
cocking the
that I
gun.
want to go, God damn it, I wish I could be better than that guy. Like, that guy is so fucking cool. He's so fucking legitimate. Like,
You know what?
Fuck it. Bring that guy.
I'm starting to come around to that. I don't think that that's what America wants. I think America wants to use this as a method of escapism and see dumb people do dumb things on TV. But my favorite Bachelor is somebody who I respected, somebody who made me want to be a better man, and that's Ben Higgins. So in the future, I hope we get a better Bachelor than Arie. In the future, I hope Becca's a better Bachelorette than Rachel. But we just don't know. We'll have to tune into the show next season.
You were kind of getting ahead of yourself.
I don't want to do that, especially on our finale episode. Before we head out, we want to say thank you so much to everyone who listened to this show throughout this entire season. The Facebook group launched this year. We got a lot of traction in the reviews. You guys have shown us so much love and support, and we cannot thank you enough. And we're a little burnt out. We need a break, but we're coming back. Until next time, I'm Dylan saying goodbye. Nick, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Pat, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.